I'm about to show you 5 common fruits that can silently accelerate brain aging after 60, and 5 powerful alternatives that help protect your memory from decline. Most seniors believe they are making a heart-healthy choice by starting their day with these fruits, but they may be unknowingly spiking their insulin levels to a dangerous degree. I am Dr. James Williams, and I want to help you navigate these choices to preserve your cognitive function for the years to come. I have worked with many older adults who are confused by the sudden onset of brain fog or memory lapses. Let's begin with the first item on our list, which is likely the most common mistake made at the breakfast table. 1. Fruit juice, even 100% juice. Stop drinking your fruit and start chewing it to protect your brain's insulin sensitivity. When you drink juice, even if it is labeled as unsweetened or 100% pure, you are consuming the sugar of 4 or 5 fruits in a matter of seconds. This floods your liver and bloodstream with fructose and glucose without the protective barrier of fiber. This matters because fiber is the safety net that slows down the absorption of sugar. Without fiber, the sugar hits your system instantly. For a senior, this rapid spike is dangerous for the small blood vessels in the brain. I want to tell you about Robert, who is 72 years old. Robert came to me complaining of significant brain fog every morning around 11 a.m., which he thought was just part of aging. He was drinking a large glass of orange juice every morning because he thought the vitamin C was good for his immune system. We swapped his juice for water with a squeeze of lemon and told him to eat a whole orange if he wanted the flavor. Within 3 days, his mid-morning confusion cleared up and his energy levels remained steady until lunch. The explanation for this is rooted in how your body processes liquid versus solid food. When you chew a whole fruit, the mechanical action of chewing signals your body to prepare for digestion. The fiber in the pulp creates a mesh in your intestines. This mesh acts like a filter, allowing sugar to enter your bloodstream slowly, drop by drop. When you drink juice, that mesh is gone. The sugar rushes in like a tidal wave. This forces your pancreas to pump out a massive amount of insulin to manage the load. Over years, this constant demand wears out your insulin response. When your brain becomes resistant to insulin, it cannot absorb glucose effectively. A brain that cannot absorb fuel begins to starve, and shrinking brain volume is a hallmark of dementia. There is also a specific timing factor you need to understand regarding your blood sugar readings. Many seniors experience what we call the dawn phenomenon. This is when your body naturally releases cortisol and growth hormone in the early morning to wake you up. These hormones naturally raise your blood sugar before you even get out of bed. If you add a glass of juice on top of this naturally elevated state, you push your levels into a danger zone very early in the day. This sets a precedent for high blood sugar and inflammation for the next 24 hours. Here is how to manage this change in your daily life. Step 1 is to remove fruit juice from your daily grocery list. It should be treated as a rare treat, not a health food. Step 2 is to replace that morning beverage with a glass of water. Hydration is critical for brain function, as the brain is largely water. If you miss the flavor, slice a real orange or a few berries and put them in the water. Step 3 is if you have juice in your house right now, dilute it. Mix 1 part juice with 3 parts water to drastically reduce the sugar load per serving. Step 4 is to always choose the whole fruit over the liquid version. The act of peeling and chewing is part of the digestive process that signals satiety to your brain. You would likely never eat 5 oranges in one sitting, but you can easily drink the juice of 5 oranges in less than a minute. That volume difference is crucial for weight management and metabolic health. One reinforcing thought for this habit is that chewing your calories supports steady mental energy. 2. Canned fruit in heavy syrup. Read the label on canned fruit carefully and reject any can that mentions syrup. Canned fruit can be a convenient option for seniors who struggle with peeling or chopping fresh produce, but the syrup is a major health hazard. The syrup used in canning is often a heavy solution of high fructose corn syrup or simple table sugar. This liquid penetrates the fruit itself, turning a healthy piece of produce into a sugar sponge. This matters because high fructose corn syrup is known to increase inflammation specifically in the liver and the brain. Inflammation is the enemy of cognitive longevity. Let me share the story of Margaret, who is 68. Margaret lived alone and relied on canned peaches and pears because fresh fruit often spoiled before she could eat it all. She was struggling with joint pain and persistent mental sluggishness. We discovered that her healthy dessert was adding nearly 40 grams of added sugar to her daily intake. She switched to frozen fruit that had no added sugar. Her joint pain subsided significantly, and she reported feeling sharper within 2 weeks. The explanation here focuses on the difference between preservation and processing. Canning is a preservation method, but adding syrup is a processing choice made by manufacturers to enhance flavor and texture. The fruit sits in this sugar bath for months. By the time you open the can, the sugar has broken down the cellular structure of the fruit. You are essentially eating a soft candy. Furthermore, the heat used in canning can destroy some of the heat-sensitive vitamins, like vitamin C, so you are getting less nutrition and significantly more sugar. This excess sugar triggers the reward centers in the brain similarly to how addictive substances do. It creates a craving for more sugar, leading to a cycle of snacking that is hard to break. For a senior brain, breaking this cycle is essential to preventing the plaque buildup associated with Alzheimer's. Here is a same-day lever you can pull to fix this. Go to your pantry right now and look at any cans of fruit you have. Read the ingredients list on the back, not just the front of the label. If the ingredients list includes sugar, corn syrup, heavy syrup, or light syrup, put it aside. You want to look for cans that say packed in 100% juice or packed in water. Even packed in juice adds sugar, but it is better than syrup. Here is how to consume it if you must eat what you already have. Open the can and pour the contents into a colander or strainer. Rinse the fruit thoroughly under cold running water for at least 30 seconds. This will wash away the surface syrup, though it cannot remove the sugar that has been absorbed into the fruit. The better option for the future is to buy frozen fruit. Frozen fruit is picked at the peak of ripeness and flash frozen immediately. It retains its nutrient density and rarely has added sugar. You can take out exactly the amount you want to eat, so there is no waste. Let it thaw in a bowl for 10 minutes or warm it gently in the microwave. This simple switch removes a massive inflammatory trigger from your diet. Prioritizing fresh or frozen over canned supports your long-term cognitive clarity. 3. Dried fruits, raisins, cranberries, dates. Treat dried fruit as a garnish or a condiment, never as a main snack. The drying process removes almost all the water content from the fruit. What is left behind is a highly concentrated source of sugar and calories. A single grape is mostly water, but a raisin is a dense packet of glucose. This matters because it is incredibly easy to overeat dried fruit without realizing the impact on your blood sugar. You can eat a handful of raisins in seconds, consuming the sugar equivalent of a large bowl of fresh grapes. I remember Arthur, a 75-year-old patient who prided himself on his heart-healthy snacking. He kept a bag of raisins by his recliner and would graze on them while watching television. He complained of severe afternoon fatigue and difficulty focusing on his reading. We realized he was consuming nearly 400 calories of sugar during his TV time. He reduced the raisins to just a teaspoon sprinkled over his oatmeal. His energy levels leveled out, and he stopped falling asleep in his chair. The explanation involves caloric density and the stickiness factor. When water is removed, the volume of the fruit shrinks, but the sugar content remains the same. Your stomach does not get the same signal of fullness from a handful of raisins that it would from a bowl of grapes. Because the volume is low, you continue eating. Additionally, dried fruits are sticky. They adhere to your teeth, which can cause dental issues, but they also digest differently. Commercially produced dried fruits, like cranberries, often have added sugar because the natural fruit is too tart. So you have concentrated natural sugar plus added refined sugar. This creates a glycemic load that is very difficult for a senior metabolism to handle. The sudden influx of energy is followed by a steep drop. For the brain, this drop feels like a power outage. Neurons require a steady supply of glucose. They do not function well with surges and drops. Here is how to include dried fruit safely if you love the taste. Think of it as a flavor enhancer, not a food group. Use kitchen shears to cut dates or apricots into tiny pieces. Sprinkle a very small amount, perhaps 1 tablespoon, onto a salad or a bowl of yogurt. The fiber in the vegetables or the protein in the yogurt will help buffer the sugar absorption. Never eat dried fruit alone on an empty stomach. Always pair it with a fat or protein source, like a few walnuts or a slice of cheese. Check the package for sulfites if you have sensitivities, as these are often used as preservatives to keep the colors bright. If you can, look for unsweetened varieties, though these are rare for fruits like cranberries. A better alternative is freeze-dried fruit. Freeze-drying removes water but often leaves a crunchy texture that takes up more volume, which can help with portion control. However, the sugar concentration issue remains, so the portion rule still applies. Using dried fruit sparingly ensures you enjoy the taste without overwhelming your system. 4. High glycemic tropical fruits: mangoes, grapes, overripe bananas. Consume sweet tropical fruits only when paired with a source of protein or healthy fat. Tropical fruits like mangoes, pineapples, and very ripe bananas contain a higher ratio of fructose compared to other fruits like berries. While they contain vitamins, their sugar load can be excessive for an aging body that is becoming more insulin resistant. This matters because fructose is processed primarily by the liver. When the liver is overwhelmed with fructose, it converts the excess into fat. This can contribute to fatty liver disease and systemic inflammation, which eventually reaches the brain. Consider Elena, who is 65. She loved making massive fruit salads with mango, papaya, and grapes for her lunch. She suffered from memory lapses and would often lose her train of thought in conversations shortly after eating. We adjusted her diet to include these fruits only as a side dish to a meal with eggs or chicken. Her memory lapses became less frequent as her blood sugar stabilized. The explanation here requires understanding the difference between glycemic index and glycemic load. Glycemic index measures how fast a food raises blood sugar. Glycemic load measures how much sugar is in a normal serving. Tropical fruits tend to score high on both. Grapes, for example, are little sacks of sugar water. An overripe banana, one with many brown spots, has converted almost all of its starch into simple sugar. This makes it very easy to digest, which is good for an athlete during a race, but bad for a senior sitting in a chair. The rapid digestion leads to that familiar spike and crash. For a brain that is trying to maintain neural connections, this instability is damaging. It promotes oxidative stress, which is essentially rust on your cells. Here is a longer-term lever you can use to manage this. You do not have to ban these fruits entirely, but you must change the context in which you eat them. Never eat a high-sugar fruit by itself. Always introduce a chaperone food. A chaperone is a food high in fiber, fat, or protein that slows down the digestion of the fruit. If you eat a banana, eat it while it is still slightly green or yellow, not brown. Spread almond butter or peanut butter on it. The fat in the nut butter slows the absorption of the sugar from the banana. If you eat grapes, have a small piece of cheese with each grape. If you eat mango, mix it into cottage cheese or Greek yogurt. This strategy changes the glycemic impact of the fruit entirely. It turns a high-spike food into a slow-release fuel. This helps you maintain mental clarity throughout the afternoon. Also, be mindful of portion sizes. A serving of grapes is roughly 10 to 12 grapes, not a whole bowl. A serving of mango is half a cup, not the whole fruit. By controlling the portion and adding a partner food, you protect your brain from the sugar flood. Balancing your fruit intake is a key strategy for cognitive preservation. This concludes the first part of our list regarding the fruits that can cause silent damage if not managed correctly. We have looked at juice, canned fruit, dried fruit, and high-sugar tropical varieties. By making these adjustments, you are already lowering the inflammatory load on your brain, but removing the bad is only half the battle. We also need to actively add the good. There are specific fruits that contain compounds proven to help repair brain cells, improve memory, and protect against dementia. 5. Blueberries and dark berries. Eat a half cup of blueberries or blackberries every single day to shield your brain neurons. If there is one fruit that deserves the title of a superfood for the aging brain, it is the blueberry. This matters because these dark berries are packed with a specific type of antioxidant called anthocyanins. Anthocyanins are what give the berries their deep blue and purple color, and they have the unique ability to cross the blood-brain barrier. Once they enter the brain, they congregate in areas responsible for memory and learning. I recall Thomas, a 70-year-old patient who was an avid crossword puzzle fan, but noticed he was taking longer and longer to finish them. He had a habit of eating a banana every morning, which is fine, but it wasn't providing the specific protection he needed. We switched his morning fruit to a cup of wild blueberries mixed into his oatmeal. After 3 months, he reported that his focus felt sharper and he was completing his puzzles with his old speed. The explanation lies in how these berries fight oxidative stress. As we age, our brain cells accumulate damage from free radicals, which are unstable atoms that damage cells. This oxidative stress is a major driver of cognitive decline. Recent studies have suggested that regular consumption of berries can delay cognitive aging by up to 2.5 years. The anthocyanins reduce inflammation and even help facilitate communication between brain cells. It is like upgrading the wiring in your house to handle more electricity. They also help improve insulin sensitivity, which connects back to our earlier discussion about avoiding high blood sugar. Here is how to incorporate them effectively. Fresh berries are excellent, but frozen berries are often even better. They are frozen at peak ripeness, locking in the nutrients, and they are usually more affordable. You can add them to a smoothie, stir them into Greek yogurt, or put them on top of a salad. Wild blueberries, if you can find them in the freezer section, are smaller but have a higher concentration of antioxidants than the larger cultivated ones. Aim for consistency rather than quantity. A small handful every day is better than a large bowl once a week. One caution to keep in mind is that while they are lower in sugar than tropical fruits, they still contain carbohydrates. If you are strictly monitoring your blood sugar, measure your portion carefully. Eating dark berries acts as a daily shield for your memory centers. 6. Avocados. Include half an avocado in your daily diet to provide the structural fat your brain needs to maintain itself. While technically a fruit, the avocado is unique because it is virtually sugar-free and rich in healthy monounsaturated fats. This matters because your brain is roughly 60% fat. To repair brain cells and maintain the myelin sheath, the protective coating around your nerves, you need to consume high-quality dietary fats. When you deprive your body of these fats, your brain cells become rigid and communication between them slows down. Let me tell you about Sarah, who is 66. Sarah came to me struggling with dry skin and a persistent feeling of brain fog that made it hard for her to concentrate on reading. She had spent years on a low-fat diet, thinking she was protecting her heart. We introduced healthy fats back into her diet, specifically focusing on avocados. Within a month, not only did her skin improve, but she described a lifting of the fog and better mental endurance. The explanation involves blood flow and inflammation. The monounsaturated fats in avocados contribute to healthy blood flow, and a healthy blood flow is essential for a healthy brain. High blood pressure is a risk factor for cognitive decline, and avocados contain potassium, which helps lower blood pressure. They essentially help keep the highways to your brain open and clear. Furthermore, avocados are high in fiber, which helps regulate blood sugar levels, preventing those spikes we discussed in the first part. They are a dual-threat food. They build up the brain structure and protect the blood supply. Here is how to eat them. Slice half an avocado and eat it with a pinch of sea salt and pepper as a side dish to your eggs. Mash it onto a piece of whole grain toast instead of using butter or margarine. You can even add it to smoothies. It makes the texture creamy without adding a strong flavor. If you find fresh avocados difficult to manage because they ripen so quickly, you can buy frozen avocado chunks. These are great for smoothies and ensure you always have them on hand without waste. One caution is that avocados are calorie-dense. If you are watching your weight, stick to 1/4 or 1/2 of an avocado per day. Do not eat the whole fruit in one sitting unless it is your main meal. Adding healthy fats is like oiling the gears of your cognitive machinery. 7. Pomegranates, seeds or arils. Sprinkle pomegranate seeds onto your food to boost your brain's defense against inflammation. Pomegranates are often overlooked because they can be intimidating to prepare, but their seeds, called arils, are potent brain protectors. This matters because they contain a specific type of antioxidant called punicalagins, which are extremely powerful. These compounds have been shown to reduce inflammation in the digestive tract and, by extension, the rest of the body. There is a strong connection between gut health and brain health, often called the gut-brain axis. David, a 78-year-old patient, was looking for natural ways to support his circulation and alertness. He felt sluggish and cold in his extremities, which can be a sign of poor blood flow. We added pomegranate seeds to his daily salad. He noticed an improvement in his energy levels and felt warmer and more active throughout the day. The explanation is that pomegranates support the production of nitric oxide in the body. Nitric oxide is a molecule that helps your blood vessels relax and open up. This improves blood flow to all organs, including the brain. Better blood flow means more oxygen and nutrients reaching your neurons. It also means more efficient removal of waste products from the brain. Think of it as improving the traffic flow in a busy city. Everything moves smoother and faster. Here is how to use them without the mess. You do not need to wrestle with the whole fruit and risk staining your clothes. You can buy containers of just the fresh seeds, arils, in the produce section of many grocery stores. You can also find them frozen, which is a fantastic and convenient option. Sprinkle a tablespoon of seeds over your salad for a burst of tart sweetness and crunch. Mix them into yogurt or cottage cheese. They add a texture that encourages chewing, which we know is good for satiety. One caution applies if you are taking blood thinners or medication for high blood pressure. Pomegranate can affect how quickly the liver breaks down these medications. Always check with your doctor before making pomegranates a daily habit if you are on prescription medication. Using pomegranates is a tasty way to improve oxygen delivery to your brain. 8. Citrus fruits, oranges, grapefruit with caution. Consume whole citrus fruits to gain flavonoids that protect nerve cells, but be mindful of medication interactions. Oranges, grapefruits, and clementines are classic breakfast foods, but we must eat the whole fruit, not the juice. This matters because the white pith, the stringy stuff we usually peel away, is rich in flavonoids. These flavonoids are compounds that are thought to improve blood flow to the brain and protect nerve cells from injury. They work to reduce the inflammation that can lead to plaques in the brain. Linda, who is 69, used to drink grapefruit juice but switched to eating the whole fruit sections. She found that the act of eating the fruit gave her a steady release of energy instead of the quick burst she got from juice. She used it as a replacement for her mid-afternoon cookies. This small switch helped her lose weight and feel more alert in the evenings. The explanation focuses on the combination of vitamin C and fiber. Vitamin C is a powerful antioxidant that helps prevent damage to brain cells. However, vitamin C is water-soluble, meaning your body does not store it. You need to consume it regularly. By eating the whole fruit, you get the vitamin C along with the fiber that regulates the sugar absorption. This ensures that the brain gets the nutrients without the insulin spike. The scent of citrus alone has been shown in some observations to stimulate alertness and reduce anxiety. It is a sensory experience that wakes up the brain. Here is how to do it. Peel an orange or a grapefruit and try to leave some of the white pith on the segments. Do not be too meticulous about cleaning it off. Eat the segments slowly. If you find grapefruit too sour, do not cover it in sugar. That defeats the purpose. Try sprinkling a little cinnamon on it instead to cut the tartness. Here is a very serious caution regarding grapefruit. Grapefruit contains compounds that interfere with an enzyme in your gut. This enzyme is responsible for breaking down many types of medications, including statins for cholesterol and some blood pressure drugs. If you eat grapefruit while taking these drugs, the medication can build up to dangerous levels in your blood. If you are on any daily medication, you must ask your pharmacist specifically, "Can I eat grapefruit with this?" If the answer is no, stick to oranges or clementines, which generally do not have this effect. Navigating citrus choices wisely adds a layer of neuroprotection to your diet. You now have a clear strategy for navigating the produce aisle to support your brain health after 60. We have identified the 5 fruits that can silently damage your health: fruit juice, canned fruit in syrup, dried fruits, and high-sugar tropical fruits. These items often introduce too much sugar too quickly, leading to inflammation and insulin resistance in the brain. We have also identified the 5 protectors: blueberries for their anthocyanins, avocados for their healthy fats, pomegranates for blood flow, and whole citrus for their flavonoids. These foods provide the raw materials your brain needs to repair itself and function optimally. It is not about fearing food. It is about understanding how your body's needs change as you age. Your metabolism at 60 is not the same as it was at 20, and that is okay. By making these simple shifts, swapping a glass of juice for a bowl of berries, or trading raisins for avocado on toast, you are taking control of your cognitive destiny. You are feeding your brain, not just filling your stomach. Start with one change this week. Perhaps you stop buying juice. Perhaps you buy your first bag of frozen blueberries. Small, consistent actions compound over time to create significant health results. If you know someone over 50 who could benefit from this, share this video and subscribe for more simple health tips.